So we did our decision-making project for Module 3 on Lori, and some background information for her. She's a 12-year-old female diagnosed with autism spectrum disorder, attending middle school in a full-day general education classroom. Via a preference assessment, it was found that she likes drawing and pop culture magazines. In the classroom, she receives one-to-one support for academics, but she has to request when she needs help. The current assessment places her at one grade level behind in all of her subjects. Um, Concerns are her off task behavior, such as doodling, talking with friends, and reading irrelevant material during her academic work. And they found through an FBA this off task behavior to be maintained by escape.
And some of the tactics that were used was DNRA, extinction, which is contingent on escape from the off-task behavior, negative reinforcement, contingent on alternative break request behavior, and then we said that we'd use discrete trial to train the alternative behavior, which would be raising the hand, and then training the another alternative behavior could be for asking for a break. And then we would use positive reinforcement contingent on requesting for help.
And so how, basically what it would look like. So for the differential negative reinforcement of the alternative behavior of asking for a break, differential reinforcement involves the positive or negative reinforcement and then also extinction. So specifically for the off task, extinction would look like keeping the demand in place, whether it was the science or the math work in place, and not allowing Lori to actually escape from doing it by doodling or doing whatever else to escape from it. And the negative reinforcement would look like allowing the break when it was requested through the alternative behavior. And we were noting that, based on the baseline information and her acquiring the skill, that it would initially be on a continuous reinforcement schedule, and then we would thin it by requiring longer durations of academic work, and that is how we would also build up to her getting longer and longer durations of actually being on task, which would also decrease her off-task behavior.
And for research for our tactic one, we would use DNRA, which was found to be evidence-based. And then we have the articles from Vollmer, Rohn, and Rigdal, and this DNRA has shown to reduce problem behavior and increase compliance when implemented correctly, and this could be used to keep her on task for longer and longer periods of time.
So our research to back up tactic 2, which was discrete trial instruction, we would use that to train Lori to request for a break through the discrete trial and teach her how to do that. So some research that we found, I think it was the functional communication training, a review for a practical guide. We found that functional communication training can be used in order to obtain the help. And yeah.
And functional communication is a form of differential reinforcement. For ethical considerations, obviously DNRA has some negatives, which there can be excessive requests for breaks when the skill gets trained. Periods of non-instruction could be disruptive to the classroom, constantly asking for breaks. And there's also side effects to extinction. It could be an initial increase in response amplitude and potential for aggressive or agitated behavior. And then we cited Bailey and Birch for code 1.02, which is bounds of competency. The person or the paraprofessional in the classroom needs to be trained in order to deal with this type of behavior. And that behavior may not be easily managed by someone who is not trained.
So just as a final overall summary of the decision making, we would use discrete trials to train the DNRA, the functional communication response of I need a break. And in order to give the escape from the math or science upon requesting it, and we would use extinction to block and withhold reinforcement from the off-task behavior whenever it was done without requesting. We would also use the positive reinforcement to have to positively reinforce her asking for help so that it would increase. And then we just did our references from all of the articles that we got the evidence-based tactics from.
And that is it.